Hey, how you doing? Justin here for the Lesson 2 practice instructions. A lot of this will be kind of similar to last week's one, but I'm going to take you through each item on the list as usual. It's still a 20-minute practice routine. My recommended practice amount would be practice on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, practice Thursday, Friday, have the weekend off, so 4 practice sessions a week. Finger pain is likely to be the most common problem for most beginners still at this stage. If you're not really feeling that and you feel like you can plow on and practice every day, then that's great. Don't feel pressured to, but you have to kind of feel it out on your own way for how much practice time you actually put in. I have heard about a few people practicing twice a day. That's okay, but just really beware of overdoing it, because if you get the finger pain too much, then you might just end up not practicing or kind of giving up guitar, and that would be a shame to have done it through over practice. So let me take you through the items on the practice routine again. So the first thing we've got is 2 minutes on the E chord, chord perfect. So just getting the E chord down, putting the fingers in, strum, pick the notes out one at a time, fix it if there's a dead one, figure out what it is, and then strum again at the end. Same as we've done before with the A chord and the D chord. Then we've got 1 minute on the A chord, chord perfect practice, and 1 minute on the D chord perfect practice as well. So 1 minute on each one of those. If you found, for example, the A chord was like really easy and the D chord was really difficult, you could always just swap it over and put a little bit of extra practice in things that you are really struggling with. Always better in these beginner stages to be practicing the stuff you can't do more than the stuff that you find really easy. Okay, later on in the guitar journey you might switch that around, but definitely in the beginner stages, if there's something that you're really struggling with, try and give that as much time as you can, and even if it means pulling a bit of time off something else that you were kind of feeling a bit confident with. We then have 2 minutes on anchor finger work. Now the one of the little patterns that you might like to try here is moving from E to A, E to D to A to D, and just using that 6 chord cycle over and over again. Remember, you're not strumming. This isn't 1 minute changes. This is just practice on the anchor finger. So just going E, A, E, D, A, D, and back again. E, A, E, D, A, D. That gives you all of the changes, the anchor finger changes that we've done so far. Just remember, covering the strings here, you're not pressing too hard. This is a chance to give your fingers a little bit of a break, and you're just running through, getting used to that first finger sliding up and down. Having a light touch, you'll find, will help with the anchor finger. You don't want to hear this kind of scratching noise with your first fingers moving backwards and forwards. That's definitely a sign that your first finger is pressing too hard there. So nice light touch with the first finger in those chord transitions is going to help you out a whole heap. Then we've got 3 sessions of 1 minute changes. A to D, A to E, and D to E. Doesn't really matter the order, to be honest. You're going to get through all 3 of them anyway. You should have already done a bit of practice on getting the chords, sounding as good as you can, the chord perfect practice. So now it's just about the speed, and really remember that that's the point. Okay, if some of the notes aren't quite ringing out on the chord, doesn't really matter. You're really just aiming for the fingers in the right place, and then being able to just get the fingers moving between the shapes as fast as you can. Okay, that's a real key thing. Of course, you kind of need to have them memorized. So I'm almost assuming that before you start practicing that you've memorized the new E chord and that you've totally memorized the A and the D. You shouldn't have moved on to lesson 2 if you hadn't memorized those chords, the A and the D already. That really is a key thing. So each time we learn a new chord, you want to learn it that week to memory as soon as you can. We've then got some riff fun, which is going to be the, I can't remember what it's called now, the Peter Gunn theme. Now, different people are going to have different struggles with that. You just want to take it really nice and slow. I'm going to make a little backing track as well for you guys. So if you look up again on the website, there'll be a link to where you can get a practice along jam thing for that. At the beginning, it's likely to be a bit... It's going to be sloppy. Again, you go and watch my left-handed videos and you'll get some idea that it's not super easy. The trick here really is trying to keep that nice spread of the fingers. That's what you're aiming for. It is a riff, but I'm kind of seeing it as a great exercise for your fingers as well. Good for your picking hand to get used to playing one string as well. If you're anything like I was when I'm doing the lefty practice, I'm still feeling really tense and it's difficult to play that one string. That's okay. Don't stress about it. You've still got to remain forgiving with yourself on this journey. It's only the second lesson. Okay? Really important. After that, we got 10 minutes song practice each time. Now, there's loads of song choices that you've got now. Again, it's important to pick the ones that you like. If you're going to use my practice along ones, we're going to be mainly focused on Three Little Birds and For What It's Worth. I'm going to revise them again and maybe adjust some of the tempos as well. If you're using the beginner song chords app, it's all there for you. It's really nice and clear which are the songs. There's a list on the website. There are songs in the songbook as well. So there's lots of different options, places where you can get different songs from. You can play on your own. I'd avoid trying to use a capo just yet. We're going to look more at the capo in the next lesson, and that gives you more options for playing along with the original recordings a bit more. You don't have that problem with the beginner song course app, so definitely be checking that out. It really is I think the best way to accelerate your beginner journey is playing along with songs, and it kind of forces you to get the chord changes a little faster, forces you to play in time, and playing in time is, for most beginners, in a couple of weeks' time becomes the main challenge. Okay, so you're probably still at the finger pain stage. Maybe by the end of this lesson, early next lesson, you'll start to, that won't be so much of a problem, and it'll be a bit more of a frustrating thing. You can't change the chords fast enough, and that becomes the big goal. And then it's after that it becomes the strumming thing. So the sooner you can really start working on the strumming and keeping in time. Don't forget as well about the beyond the practice routine thing, the tapping your foot. Learning to tap your foot whenever there's music on, you'll find so helpful. Especially in a couple of weeks' time when we're really working more on the rhythm and we're missing downstrokes, and you've got to keep the foot going. And if you've trained that foot up to be kind of automated, you'll really find that super helpful. I always get asked when the right time to move on is, and so it does become a little bit personal. But I would say for here again, you want to be fairly confident with your E chord to the same level as you were with the A and the D for lesson 1. You probably want to get to around 30 changes a minute for all of those changes. So from E to A, E to D, and A to E should all be above 30 changes a minute, I would say. If you're a little bit below that but feeling confident with the rest, that's okay. There's no real set thing for the riff, so just get with the riff as good as you can. There's no you should be able to do this or that. And with the songs, just be able to muddle your way through a few of the songs. There's not really... It's difficult for me to say yes, you're ready to move on. You have to learn to feel that a little bit. But making sure that you've memorized the chords, that you're kind of confident with, being aware of the beat, strumming at the right time, that kind of thing. They're kind of important skills. So leave it up to you, but don't be overly critical of yourself. Remember, you've got to remain forgiving and know that you're not going to be playing perfectly at this early stage. So hopefully you'll join me for the practice along, or you'll be over on the website using the practice routine generator, and I'll see you for all of that, or a next lesson in a week or two. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.